What's poppin'? It's Mello back at you with another video, and today what we're getting into, I'm teaching you how to make drill drums, whether it's UK or NY drill. I'm gonna give you the sauce, and it's gonna be in meticulous detail. If you've ever had problems with drill drums, this is gonna fix it, so let's get into it. So the first thing that we're gonna start with is the actual sounds. I'm not gonna get too deep on this. What you're gonna have to do, and what I recommend, is going out and getting some free kits. Search on YouTube, free drill drum kit, download a few packs. They're gonna have the popular sounds. Go to Reddit, type in free drill drum kit or drill drum kit. They're gonna have them on there. It's the easiest way to get to it. I will say, as far as drill, there are a few things that are popular sounds that you gotta be aware of. Only two things, maybe three, that I think is definitive of the sound. So as far as the snares, for the most part, there's still snares that you would use in trap. I'm gonna be using a Young Chop snare or a variation of it, a different mix. This right here, that is a very definitive percussion sound that's used as a hi-hat pattern and stuff like that. You hear that on everything, man. The hi-hat, I'm gonna show you a quick trick. Let's take a hi-hat from my kit. So this is all a drill hi-hat really is. You take a regular hi-hat, you push the end, we'll normalize it to make it louder, and now it slides in. You see that? If we do it like that and then trim the fat, we get that. That's all it is. It sounds like a shaker, but it's basically a faded in hat. Now you don't have to do that because, again, the free kits are gonna have hats like this. This is the other definitive sound. You definitely want to find that gunshot sound. I'm either going to put a download link in the description or the pinned comment for those specific sounds that I mentioned, because those are very foundational. And as far as the combustion kit, you know, I do have the boneless 808s. They could definitely work for this. But this 808 right here is longer than any of the 808s in my kit, so it's going to be good for doing multiple slides and things like that. The kick is from my kit because I make very hard kicks. In New York drill, they use snaps sometimes instead of snares, and they do that because that goes with the New Jersey club sound, and they mesh the sounds. I'm going to show you that a bit later. And also, instead of snares, you can use hard rims. That can work as well. And we're going to get started with the pattern. So first we're gonna go over the hi-hat pattern. So we're not gonna make this complicated. All you gotta do, lay down one of those, lay down one of those, lay down one of those, shorten this. So you get, now all you do, Control B, we repeat it. That's the pattern. That is the pattern that drives most drill. Now you can do that on a percussion, or you can do that on a hi-hat. We're gonna be doing it on a percussion in this tutorial. So now let's go to the snare. The third beat in the first bar is where it usually lands, and then the fourth beat in the second bar is where it usually lands as well. That is the most common drill drum pattern. Let's listen to it. Good money. Now as far as the kick, it definitely varies, and I'm going to show you a lot of patterns, but this, that's the most common. If you add that there, that's also the most common. Now, if we go here, we don't have a melody or anything yet, but again, I'm just showing you the basics. So with the 808, this one is already set up to loop. You definitely want to put an envelope on your 808 if it's not set up to loop. That makes it stop wherever you want it to stop. Check this out. This is going to ride for 2 whole beats. Then you take that, and the last 2 beats of the last bar, that's where it's going to go again. Now this right here, this gunshot sound, that's usually echoed and delayed, so we're just gonna do that right now, just get it out of the way. And we're gonna use the old delay, we're gonna put it on 8 steps. So I'm just gonna mute that for now, but you get it. That is the booty butt bear basics. So with that, you have the foundation of drill drum patterns. So now let's talk about these hi-hat patterns and what you can do with them. I'm gonna show you a few tricks. So the first thing is you can erase some of these. You can erase a middle one. We could erase a middle one right here. Let me be specific when I say middle one. This is a repeating pattern every half a bar. So in the half a bar loop, this will be the middle. But if you get rid of the middle one, you usually don't want it on the first half of a bar. You usually want it on the second half of a bar. You can also just get rid of 2. So that's one thing you can do. Erase some of those. Now the next thing you can do is put chops. Extra step bass notes work all the time. They work like a charm. So if I do something like this and then lower it, when you lower it, it just hit different. It hit different. You could put that after any 3 of the snare hits. What if you want to do a finer chop? You could definitely do that. You could hit it with the, you get it. I got all types of tutorials on chopping hi-hats and stuff. I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to copy the hi-hat and paste it over to the percussion. Let's listen. This right here, this top line, we're going to erase 2, then we're going to erase 2. So now let's come over here and do some chops with this. Now you see that? It works, it sounds nice, all that good stuff. So that's the hi-hats, and that's how you can vary them up. So what I'm gonna do now is make an 8-bar pattern, and I put a little chop right there, a little bit of extra sauce right there. Good money. Now let's talk about this snare. Now this is the magic in the snare, and people don't tell you, you know, you gotta really study it and really see it to really know it. The snare pattern over an 8-bar loop, if you really want it to be spicy, it should vary. That's it. It should vary. It should do different stuff throughout the 8-bar loop. It really shouldn't hit the same every 2 bars. When I did the studying and stuff like that, that's what I noticed. The snare pattern does something different a lot of the times. So right now, I'm going to show you 3 or 4 variations that you could do. So we have the first one. Another one, you could put it right there, a spot back as far as a couple steps back. You can have it hit right there. You could also just flat out have it not hit. And this is a good tip. On the first 2 bars, in a lot of cases, that second snare doesn't hit. So that's good game for you right there. But another thing that you could do, you could put a double chop right there. And you could also get creative outside of that. That's also another pattern right there. So boom, you could find a different sauce if you want. You could figure it out, all that good stuff. But those are more than enough to help you make a really dope pattern. Now we're gonna get to the kick. The kick is real basic. I already told you, just having 1 kick at the top of a 2-bar loop can work. This spot as well, the 3rd beat of an even bar. You could do the last 2 beats of an even bar. You can also double up right there. You can also put something in this spot at the end of the first bar. And don't be afraid to double that up as well. But you see what it is. That's very foundational, and you should be able to get a good bounce out of those things. Now, don't be afraid to do something like, that's just what it is. To give you the theory as far as what you're gonna hear in most of the records and stuff like that when it comes to the kicks are very passive. So you don't really wanna hammer it full of kicks. You just wanna put enough to get a point across, and you're usually gonna use the beats to do it. This is also a very popular pattern for an odd number bar or the front of a 2-bar loop. So you could throw that in there for variation as well. So that should show you what you could do with a kick pattern. We'll also bring back in the gunshot. And I cloned the gunshot and took off the delay. But you can have a gunshot hitting on the last 2 bars and stuff like that. I'm gonna high pass filter it, so. All right, so I got one of the loops from my 10K sample pack. So that's what we're working with. Now, the thing I want you to know as far as the 808, it is an extension of the melody. So with that in mind, the 808 in drill music is not like the 808 in trap music. It's gonna be a little bit different, a lot more slides. You already know that, don't gotta get into that. So let's lay out the basic. This is what I want you to know. This is the most important thing, the slides. So with the slides, this is how I lay the slides down. I go and I click this right here. Boom, it's very simple. And then we just drag it. Now, if you just laying down one of these notes, you could double click it and then click that, you know, oh yeah, it's gonna do it. You push accept and it turns it into a slide note. Wow. The rules that I'm about to tell you are not set in stone. You could break them. You're gonna hear people break them in drill music. You're gonna hear people do different stuff, but I'm just giving you what's common. So with that being said, it is what it is. When you start hearing a bunch of slides, it's usually gonna be somewhere in the even bar. The slides can usually be a little bit shorter than that, so you could go to none and bring it down, or you can go to 1/2 step. When you start hearing these slides, you're gonna hear them in this type of order, every 2 steps. Another thing is, in most cases, you'll hear them go down. Sometimes you'll hear them go down and then back up and stuff like that. But in most cases, you'll hear the notes going down. This is another thing. Whatever octave you put them in, that's going to determine what type of sound you get. Now, as far as how to pick these notes, I cannot just give you that. You know, that's something to where you got to understand how melodies work and stuff like that. And I have a bunch of tutorials for that. I got the melody basics. I got all types of stuff. I got 808. I got 2 808 tutorials. Go check those out. And I don't remake the same video 50 times, dog. That's not what we do here, man. I know this is like a low subscriber channel, but yo, like, I give you the game one time and then I bring it up in multiple videos. I don't do the same video and just pump it in your face like it's some new shit. You could even go higher. But you see, this 808 is not long enough. So this is what we do for 808s like this. You see what I did? Where every slide is gonna go, I just have another 808 start on the bass note. Now this is the thing, you gotta have the actual note hitting a lower octave because it's sliding from here to here in such a short amount of time. That's where you get the whoop whoop and all that stuff from. Now outside of that, that's the basics on slides. I wanted to show you what you could do with the slide as well. You could just drag it into another note. You could do that at other points in the pattern and stuff like that. You can also just do a stop right there like that. And in the same spots that I told you the kicks can hit, you could have 808s hit at those times as well. When the kick is not hitting or when the kick is hitting, it doesn't matter. But I do recommend having some points where the 808 hits and the kick is just not there. This is another thing that you can do. You could do slides for a whole bar. That's just what it is. So when it comes to all of that, it's about preference. It's about you feeling it out. It's about you knowing what sounds good when you hear it, playing around with different notes and stuff like that. Now, another thing that you can do, you could have the other 808 come in at different points. Listen to this. This is a whole different 808. So you could do stuff like that to spice it up. And you really want to use one of the wonky, like crazy sounding 808s that got like all the effects on it. It just don't sound like nothing normal. It sounds like some alien stuff. Now Now, as far as universal drill, whether it's UK or NY, that is pretty much it. That covers both of them. So now we're gonna go over some of the stuff that you hear in New York drill, and we're gonna make this real quick, real simple, because it's not that complicated. So everything is the same except one thing right now, which is the first thing. Change the snare to a snap. Oh yeah, by the way, I switched the sample up. It's another sample. This is from the Yasuke pack that I have. Now the 808 could be just a regular trap 808 with a bump. It could be a spins. It could be whatever. It could be the Migos A808. It could be whatever. You're not gonna go by the whole rules that I laid down for the last 808. You're gonna make a regular 808 pattern like a regular trap beat. And if you have trouble doing that, guess what? Like, I got like 50 drum tutorials about how to do that. I got the Memphis drum tutorial. I got the Trap Soul drum tutorial. I got the first tutorial that went viral that I ever did, which is the trap drum patterns tutorial. Go check those out. That'll show you how to make regular 808 patterns for trap. Now you can hit it with a kick if you want, but the thing is the kick doesn't have to be as hard. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, and this is the most important thing, what's going on in NY Drill right now is they are doing the New Jersey club break at some point during the beat. It could be before the hook comes in, it could be when the hook comes in, but at some point they're gonna throw a New Jersey club beat in there. It's really just a kick pattern. So the way you do it, the first 3 beats you hit in the bar. Now you remember the drill hi-hat pattern that we went over earlier? You just do that with the kick on the second half of each bar. So, and you repeat it over and over. Now with that, we'll just listen to it one time and then listen how it transitions into everything else.